really know.
Hey yo, what is up guys? It is me, Soul Eater LG, and today this is going to be a little bit different. This isn't a normal Destiny video. This is talking about a major thing in Final Fantasy X, the HD remake, which is basically just the international version, and it's stat maxing. Unfortunately, stat maxing is a pain in the fucking nutsack. As you can tell, I'm almost done. The only thing I have left is Luck, which is mandatory for the super bosses in the game, i.e. the Dark Aeons, and eventually Penance and Nemesis. Now the problem with this is that you have the empty sphere blocks from the keys and everything that you unlock, and as you can tell, I've been farming for a couple hours. Had to go back and farm some gold because, you know, try to get Yojimbo up and get all my Aeons and everything put together. Had to buy a bunch of Phoenix Downs. But right now I'm going to talk to you about the monsters that you actually need to fight in order to max out your stats. The first one I'm going to talk about is Ironclad. It's right down here. You need to capture 10 of all the Iron Giants and the Geminis. Iron Giants are found on the Thunder Plains, and the Gemini, A and B, are found within Sin. And sometimes you can find them in Omega Dungeon, but they don't pop up all the time. After you beat him with a overkill, it's going to drop you 2 HP spheres. What those will do, they'll grant you an extra 300 HP, so if you're trying to get to 999,000 HP, that's how you're going to do that. But you don't need break HP limit in order to beat this game. Next is Vidatu, who is over here on the front page. That's going to be the mixing of all the imps. The imps are the little magical things with tails that have like the smoke behind them. They kind of look like retarded apes floating in the air. They're going to drop you the MP spheres, and what those are going to do, they're going to give you 40 MP as opposed to the 20 MP that you get for a normal node activation. So if you have break MP limit, which once again I don't necessarily recommend having, it's not exactly useful. You don't really need it, because magic is pretty much going to be pointless at the end of the game anyways. And if you got Riku, and you know how to make Mighty, Hyper Mighty G, that's going to give you Auto Life, Haste, Protect, and I believe Shield. The next thing is going to be Strength Nodes, where you're going to fight Juggernauts. Juggernauts are basically the two-horn species creation. So when you catch all the things that, those little four-legged motherfuckers with the big-ass horns on their backs, and they mix them all together, after you've got 3 of each of those, he's going to make Juggernaut. Juggernaut, every time you beat him, he's going to drop, with an overkill, he's going to drop 2 strength spheres. And that's good for getting your strength up to 255, obviously. For Tidus, it ended up taking me about 2 hours of farming Juggernaut. He gets easier as you go on, especially when you start farming your defense. It's going to be kind of required at that point. Next up is Tankit. This guy drops defense spheres. Now, if you want to do it in a specific order, I would suggest doing Tankit first to farm your defense spheres. I didn't do that. I wasn't exactly thinking all the way through. But I would suggest doing Tankit and get your defense up. That way Juggernaut's damage is almost non-existent. So you can go ahead and you can blare through Juggernaut and not have to worry about wasting MP or Phoenix Downs or what have you. The next enemy is Jumbo Flame. He's right down here at the bottom on the first page. Now this guy's a little bit more tricky if you don't have a high magic stat already. The problem is he has somewhere around 1.8 million HP. And he has a really high magic defense, and he's immune to physical attacks that includes overdrives. Your Aeons are a good bet. Anima, if you summon Anima and you use Oblivion, you're going to pack out somewhere between 100,000 damage and 600,000 damage, depending on your stat deviation. With stat deviations like that, there becomes the problem is that now the only way that I figured out the easiest way that I was able to beat Jumbo Flan and finish farming out all my magic spheres was to use Reflect on a character. So if someone casts Reflect, it doesn't matter. Then cast Slow on that character that had Reflect, and it will actually affect Jumbo Flan, because Jumbo Flan has an automatic Reflect at the beginning of the fight. And it stays there the entire time. So that becomes a problem. Eventually, if you do that, just keep nailing with Anima. It might take you a little bit. Each fight with Anima that I summoned, it took me about 10 minutes in order to get my magic stat up. But that's the only way you're going to get your magic stat up, by farming. Tidus, he caps out somewhere at 110 for magic, I believe. And, you have 140 you got to make up for. So, it's not necessarily a major problem, but it's something you definitely need to take a look at in the first place. Next up, we have One Eye. He's right here. This is also the boss that you will fight in order to farm for your AP trick. Now, real quickly, I'm going to go into the fight. And, only reason I got ambushed is because I'm using these 2 to farm up Lux Spheres. But as you can tell, the enemy's going to die. If you go in here with 2 weak ones really quick, and you have the Comrade Overdrive mode on, you're going to get your super, or your Overdrive immediately. Now, One Eye is difficult when you first unlock him, because as you can tell, he has more than 999,000 HP, but 2 hits, and he's done. Now, for characters that are already dealing that much, it makes life quite easy. But as you'll see here, he dropped Golden Arm for me, which has triple AP. So he's a good place to farm your AP farming here. The next guy we're going to be looking at is Fenrir. Now Fenrir is a... I'm in the wrong one. Fenrir is a pain in the ass, alright? This guy is going to dodge everything you toss at him. You need to have your accuracy maxed out, but I did it in the opposite. Once again, I went for agility first and then accuracy. But Hornet is basically a one-shot kill. The best thing you can do, just quick attack him twice and he'll be done. And then Fenrir, he has about 1.2 million HP as well. So you can just chop away at him really quickly. You'll have all of your turns done before he even gets another if you've maxed out your accuracy. The next one that we're going to talk about is Terex. He's right here. He's also a 1 or 2 hit enemy. He's a very low HP, and he drops your evasion spheres. Now, the evasion spheres are going to be the things that you're going to want for generalized enemies. They don't really matter with the super bosses because their attacks aren't based on your evasion stat. They're based on a secondary stat called luck, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the evasion will be good for generalized enemies and anything that's within Sin or in the Omega Ruins. Now, your evasion stat will factor into how well you can dodge Omega weapons attacks and Ultimate weapons attacks while you're in there. So if you do this before you go there, you'll be ahead of the game. But most people don't have this stuff already cleared out. Now, in order to farm your luck spheres, you need to fight Greater Sphere. Greater Sphere has about 2 to 3 million HP. It's hard to give you a direct thing. If I was dealing a perfect, 99,000 every time, I'd be able to give you an exact estimate, or I could look it up. But this is more along the lines of just an informational video. He drops 2 luck spheres for an overkill and 1 for standard. Now, if you're going to be using Tidus's overdrives, where he's just going to be, cut and slash, or you use Blitz Ace, it goes pretty quickly in 4 overdrives with Comrade, and then these 2 on Stoic. That's why I have these out here. If you have Tidus on Comrade, he'll immediately have his overdrive after any attack that Greater Sphere will do. Now, when you're actually farming the Fortune Spheres, in order to activate the luck spheres you get from this prick, you gotta fight the Earth Eater. Now, the Earth Eater has an automatic reflect, or an automatic counter, where he will hit somebody with Flare after he's knocked down. If he's still up, he's going to hit someone with Megaton Punch, which is an instant kill. Now, you cannot survive that with Death Proof or Ribbon because it's not based on that. It's based on a separate set of formulas. It's not set on the same formula as a damage formula. It's not set as the same formula for a status formula. So you're working on 2 different wavelengths for this. Now, the problem is that Earth Eater has quite a bit of HP as well. He is quite a pain in the ass, if I have to be 100% honest. But if you guys persevere, you will be able to max out your stats. You'll be able to, yeah, I don't have all the celestial weapons maxed out yet. You can get this, the Mark of Conquest, which is incredibly difficult to get. This is for beating Nemesis, which took me fucking forever. But, guys, that is what I got for you right now. If you guys want to have any suggestions for more Final Fantasy X videos to do, throw them up down in the comments, and I will try my damned hardest to get you those videos. Until next time, guys, take it easy.